Welcome to 5 Element Friday! You get an element, and 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 you get an element.
Everybody gets an element!
It's all 5 elements. And it's Friday. Welcome, everyone. This is the first episode of 5 Element Fridays. My name is Jay, and I have Lita here with me in the studio.
Today, we're going to introduce you to the 5 elements in ancient Chinese philosophy.
And we thought we'd give you something really cool to think about on a Friday before the weekend so you can go out and do some people watching in the world and learn about yourself through observing of others and then observing yourself through the amazing energetics of the 5 elements.
And for those of you who haven't been with us for long, a great place to start out before listening to our 5 Element Fridays is to go back to our earlier podcasts on the 5 elements. Specifically, episode 2 introduces you to the concepts, and episodes 12 through 16 take you through each element and explain them more thoroughly. So if you haven't heard those, go back and listen to them to get the full benefit of 5 Element Fridays.
Go ahead. We'll wait for you right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, bleep, we're assuming you're back. We're also going to coordinate 5 Element Fridays with our Facebook group and our Instagram page. So if you haven't found us in the social, or what I like to call anti-social media, but we try to be social, join us there. We're going to be asking a weekly question, and we'll have a little fun with the group, and we all can have like conversations about the 5 elements. And if you have a question, guess what? And we use it on the air. Guess what you're going to get, Lita?
You're going to get an Inspired Action t-shirt.
That's right. And maybe we'll do a special 5 Element Friday edition.
Ooh, that would be really great.
We'll see. But we want to give away a lot of t-shirts. We love getting questions. We love having conversations. And we truly, truly love our little community that we have going on.
Yes. So for today, let's start out with a general discussion of the 5 elements and people who are introverted or extroverted.
Let's begin.
Let's begin.
We start with wood and fire.
We have to start with wood. Okay. We always
Which is
start with
us, wood and fire.
Right. So the extroverts of the world are your wood people and your fire.
Extra-verts.
Yeah, because they're extra, the wood and fire people. So
not the extra, the extra.
So they are the more young people of the world. So they like to move. They love excitement. They don't want to be bored. And they might hate to be alone.
Yeah, because if you're alone, who sees the greatness?
Ah, exactly.
You can see it on the inside. You have to work on that. But you like to have the little high five, the little fist pump, the little nod, the little, hey, good job.
And if you're fire, you want to be out in the world like a beautiful flower so people can see your radiant beauty.
Yay! You just burn brightly in the world.
Yes.
So those are the extroverts.
Yes.
Okay, and those are the out and the social. What about the introverts?
So the introverts are the metals and waters, and they are more yin. So they're more comfortable with longer periods of quiet. They don't mind being alone. In fact, some of them really need alone time, and they're okay being social. You know, maybe some sociability is fine, and they do very well in the world, but, you know, they need that alone time. They need time for contemplation, time for relaxation.
Reset their resources.
Yes.
And what about the social awkward of water a little bit?
Right. So they might be socially awkward, but they, you know, water people love to be with other people. So, you know, it's not that they don't want to go out and have a social event. They're just less likely to go out and seek it.
And how's that different between the shy of the fire?
So fire can be shy. So this is where people get confused. So there's a couple like exceptions to this extrovert introvert rule. Number 1, wood people have a marshmallow inside part of them, which is yin, and they like to be home alone sometimes and be quiet and
maybe a little private, even though when I tell people, they're like, oh my God, you're so out there. But I really am wood can be a very private kind of thing. So that's definitely a little asterisk. Yes.
And the exception for fire extrovertedness is that they can get shy, especially in a new social situation. So they might feel introverted in that case. But in general, when they're in a socially like accepted situation, they are very extroverted. And on the flip side, metals can be very good in an outward in the world when they want to be, and so can water. So you have to kind of look at the overall picture.
Sure. But and what about earth?
One more. Yes. Earth is both. They're both yin and yang equally. So they love social situations, but they also love contemplation, being alone, taking care of themselves. So they have both both equally. And the perfect scenario is to have some kind of social event like yoga or some kind of community event where they can also do something that's very soul feeding, like contemplation, like a meditation group or something like that.
So they have the social and then they have the contemplation.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. So, and they all can be variations depending on how you, your family brought you up or your social, like the upbringing of your community. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So the other thing that confuses people about their elements is that they might not feel like an extrovert because their family was very introverted, or vice versa. They may feel like an introvert, but their family was very extroverted. So you might be confused based on how you were brought up. So think about, were you really different from your family?
Were you different? Did you act differently? Were you being authentic?
Yes.
All right. So that's it for the first one of the 5 Element Fridays. So a little bit of homework. Be like Eckhart Tolle and be the watcher. Observe your life. See if you're introvert, extrovert. See if you're being authentic. Try to establish what your 5 elements are, what exact order they are.
And join us on Facebook and Instagram. We're going to ask the question there, are you more introverted or are you more extroverted? And why do you think you're one of those? And what element do you think you are as a result?
Yeah, so listen to our podcast during the week. Usually comes on Wu Wei Wednesday. And then 5 Element Friday. Tune in for more insights on the 5 elements.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.